Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we dive into two emotionally charged stories that showcase the complexities of relationships and family dynamics. In the first, a woman struggles with an unsettling behavior from her husband that has her questioning everything about their marriage. Meanwhile, in the second story, a woman faces unimaginable cruelty from her sister-in-law during a time of immense loss and grief. Join us as we explore the raw emotions and difficult decisions these individuals face and share your thoughts in the comments below. So grab a snack and get comfy, because things are about to get messy.
Our first story is from r/relationship advice. I am a 29-year-old female and just got the ick from my husband, who is a 31-year-old male. Do you think it calls for a divorce? My husband and I get along in all aspects of our relationship, but recently he's been in the habit of picking at the dried, scabbed skin on his feet and flicking it all over the floor, hence giving me major ick as I constantly feel like I'm cleaning his flakes off the couch, bed and floor. Today, we were watching TV on the sofa, and I was having some leftover pizza bedside him. Imagine my horror as I saw a huge piece of his dead skin he was picking fly into my pizza as I went to take a bite. I immediately went off on him for being a disgusting piece of shit and haven't spoken to him for a few hours now. He, on the other hand, thought it was quite funny. I don't know if I can continue with this behavior. I have told him before that this does bother me, but he tells me that because he plays so much soccer on his off days, the dry skin just happens and flakes, and he needs to remove it regularly. Does this call for a divorce?
Hey OP, first off all, oh my God. Pizza and foot flakes? That's a betrayal on so many sensory levels. Listen, I get it. We all have our quirks, but this isn't just a quirk. It's a full-blown ick attack. You've already communicated to him that it bothers you, and instead of respecting that, he laughed. That's not just gross. It's dismissive. The fact that you're asking if this calls for a divorce shows that this isn't about the skin flakes alone. It's about respect, hygiene, and your sanity. Is divorce the only option? Maybe not right away, but this does call for a serious sit-down. Let him know it's not just about the act. It's how casually he disregards your comfort. If he still thinks it's a joke after that, then yeah. You might need to reevaluate if you want to share a bed, a couch, or God forbid a pizza box with him for life. Girl, nobody deserves to live in a flake zone.
Our next story is from r/relationship advice. My sister-in-law, a 28-year-old female, tried to take my, a 27-year-old female, baby's things after my miscarriage and said I don't deserve kids. I am a 27-year-old female and have been with my husband, a 31-year-old male, for 6 years and married for just over 2 years. We have a really strong, loving relationship. I met him through his younger brother Mark, a 28-year-old male who I've known since I was around 17. Back then, Mark was in a dramatic on-and-off relationship with Sarah, now his wife. They were that couple. People constantly gossiped about them, joked about how long they'd last, who would cheat first, how many kids they'd end up having. I never considered them toxic per se, just unstable. I admit, I joined in on the gossip here and there, but it was high school and not something I ever thought would carry into adulthood. Years later in college, I ran into Mark again. He was single at the time, and we started hanging out casually. He introduced me to his roommate, and we all hung out a few times. Not close friends, but friendly. One night I attended a party his roommate was hosting. That night changed my life. I was sexually assaulted by Mark's roommate while I was blackout drunk and then abandoned at the house. It was traumatic beyond words. I was lucky to have amazing friends, including Mark, who supported me. Mark encouraged me to report it, and I did, but nothing meaningful came from it at the time. Eventually, another girl came forward saying he had tried to forcefully kiss her, which helped validate my case a little, but the university still didn't take much action. The university claimed the guy had exceptional performance and deep regret, and simply banned him from being around me, whatever that meant, and sent him to counseling in the same building as me. Mark ended up moving in with his brother, my husband. I would visit occasionally, and that's how we met. My husband was gentle, patient, and truly helped put me back together. I had completely lost my sense of self, and he slowly, lovingly helped me find it again. I'll never forget how safe I felt with him after all that darkness. Sarah, however, has not been quite welcoming. She's accused me of liking Mark, completely untrue and disturbing, honestly. Yes, Mark and I used to bicker like siblings, but it was never anything remotely romantic. I've only ever seen him as a friend, and now just family. But Sarah seems to have held on to this weird narrative. We've always had some minor friction, passive-aggressive digs, cold shoulders, the occasional pointed comment. My mother-in-law has always had a soft spot for me. She's openly said how much she appreciates me. She was thrilled when we got married. Sarah, on the other hand, didn't hide her jealousy. She even made snide remarks about how I locked him down so quickly. We dated for about 4 years before marrying. She and Mark were together on and off for nearly a decade before tying the knot. A few months ago, I had a miscarriage. It crushed me. I didn't know a heart could break that way. And during that time, she brought up my abortion while I was grieving my miscarriage. A few months into our relationship, I had an abortion. I was suicidal, emotionally wrecked, and in absolutely no place to carry a pregnancy. It was not a decision I took lightly, but it was necessary. My husband supported me completely. I don't know what she exactly said as she was outside my room, but I could hear snippets, and it wasn't very positive. It was cruel, and I mentioned it to my husband, who defended me and told her off, but I have maintained distance since. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, Sarah is pregnant, and we were genuinely happy for them. We showed up for her baby shower with gifts, but I was quietly emotional because it reminded me of the baby shower I never got to have. I wasn't jealous, just a little heartbroken. I smiled through it, but being surrounded by everything I lost brought a lot of quiet pain. But Sarah pulled me aside at her shower and accused me of being jealous and of trying to steal her moment. I stayed calm and tried to explain that I was just a bit emotional, but when she wouldn't listen, I put on a happy face since I didn't want to ruin the day. Later, when my mother-in-law comforted me after noticing I was off, Sarah again accused me, this time louder, of trying to make the day about myself. I didn't say anything, but my husband saw it all and decided we should leave early for the sake of my mental health, since the miscarriage was recent and we were still grieving. We stayed until nearly everyone had left and then quietly slipped out. Later that night, Sarah called me crying, saying I ruined her day. I kept calm and didn't want to stress her out since she's pregnant after all, so I told her gently to focus on herself and not on petty drama. She got offended at the word petty and said I was disregarding her feelings. I was exhausted and just wanted to sleep, so I apologized just to end the conversation. Then, a few days later, she showed up at our house. I thought she was going to continue the argument, but it was worse. She asked for the baby blanket and crib that my mother-in-law gave me during my pregnancy, the ones I never got to use. I was completely shocked. That stuff is in a nursery we haven't touched since the miscarriage. These were items that were deeply personal. They were part of the joy I had during that pregnancy. After the miscarriage, we put everything in a nursery that we haven't touched since. It's painful for both me and my husband to even walk past that room. It's half finished, full of items from that time. Neither of us have had the emotional strength to go in there, let alone pack things away. I was stunned. I told her that my husband wasn't home and I'd have to talk to him. That was a lie. I had no intention of giving her those things, ever, but I was panicking. We'd never interacted one-on-one like that before. There was always my husband or in-laws around. I didn't know if she might just take the things while I stood there. She's pregnant, so I couldn't physically stop her, and I wouldn't risk hurting her. So I said what I had to say to de-escalate. She insisted that my husband would understand, and that my mother-in-law was okay with it. That stung. I just repeated that we'd talk and get back to her. Eventually, she left, saying she'd come back when my husband was around. When he came home and I told him, he was furious. He called his mum and told her to give Sarah something else. Anything else from Mark's childhood, but the things meant for our baby were not hers to take. My mother-in-law said she had no idea Sarah had even come over. My husband then told Mark, who had a talk with Sarah. Instead of any kind of apology or understanding, she doubled down and started throwing the same accusations she's always thrown about me being jealous, about me hating her. I don't remember the whole conversation because it was the same old script, until she said something that broke me. She said I didn't deserve the baby stuff because I wasn't pregnant and was just wasting it. When I argued back and told her how hurtful that was, she responded, "I'm glad you don't have kids because you'd probably be stingy and territorial with them too." I was stunned. I couldn't breathe. I don't think I've ever heard anything more cruel in my life. My husband immediately told them both to get out. He shouted, which I don't blame him for. That's when Mark got pissed and said, "You can't talk to my wife like that." And my husband responded, "She has no business being in our house if she's going to act like this." Some back and forth happened. Mark called me a bitch, which hit me hard. It hurt more than I expected, from someone who once supported me through one of the worst moments of my life. It felt like a betrayal of everything. My husband then punched Mark and kicked them out. After they left, I didn't have the emotional bandwidth to do anything else. I cried the whole day. It felt like all the progress I'd made in coping with the loss of our baby was gone. My husband was equally devastated, not just by what they said to me, but by what his own brother had become, which I hadn't noticed until that very moment. We've decided to cut ties with them. We told my mother-in-law to handle things going forward. She's not pressuring us and understands. And to help me heal a bit, my husband planned a sweet little date night. It did help, a little, but I still can't stop wondering why Sarah would say something so cruel. I know we weren't close. We were bitchy, passive-aggressive digs, subtle jabs, the classic not passing the salt type of drama. Maybe I dismissed it as trivial, but maybe it wasn't trivial to her. Maybe the gossiping in high school about her and Mark stayed with her. Maybe me being introduced into the family while she was in one of her off phases with Mark hurt more than I realized. Maybe the fact that my mother-in-law and I had more one-on-one time stung her. But I never tried to hurt her. I just didn't feel welcome enough to build a relationship. She always seemed cold, distant. I figured she just wasn't interested in being friends. And the jealousy thing, I honestly don't know where it comes from. Mark clearly loves her. Their relationship may be rocky, but there's no lack of love. So I don't get paranoid about me. It's exhausting and insulting to both her and my relationship. I'm not denying that her behavior warrants us cutting ties, but I can't help wondering if I could have done better in the past. Maybe I could have tried harder, been warmer, pushed past her coldness. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm hurt. I don't think I deserved the way she behaved. And something I haven't said out loud to anyone yet, I think I might be pregnant again. I haven't taken a test. I've been putting it off, maybe out of fear, maybe out of hope. I've noticed the symptoms that don't feel like my usual anxiety. I keep telling myself it could be anything. Maybe I'm just stressed. Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe it's just wishful thinking because deep down I want it to be true so badly. I want another chance. But at the same time, I'm absolutely terrified that it is true. What if my body fails me again? What if I let myself hope only to grieve again? What if I'm not strong enough this time? I am so scared. And then there's the other side. What if I am pregnant and Sarah finds out? She's already proven how insecure and reactive she can be. If she thought I was stealing her spotlight before, what is she going to do when I have actual news? She might weaponize my past against me, my abortion, my miscarriage. I don't want my possible pregnancy to feel like some kind of twisted competition. It's not. I want peace. I want healing. I want to carry this baby without fear or defensiveness, only with quiet hope and love. But even the possibility of being pregnant feels like a burden right now, because I don't know how to protect that space for myself without feeling like I have to defend it from her. I know I can't hide it forever if it's real. I also know that if I'm not pregnant, or if I can't get pregnant again, I still want to know my niece or nephew, and I want to be a good aunt. I don't want Sarah or Mark to take that away from me, but I think they did. I feel fragile, I feel exhausted, and I don't know what to do next.
Hey, OP. First and foremost, what you've been through is immense. From the assault in college, the heartbreak of a miscarriage, to the emotional turmoil created by Sarah, your strength in enduring all of this while still trying to maintain dignity and kindness is honestly incredible. Sarah's behavior is beyond inappropriate. It's cruel, manipulative, and deeply insensitive. Bringing up your abortion during your miscarriage grief, trying to take items from your nursery, and implying you don't deserve to be a mother are not just petty jabs. They're emotional violence. It's deeply disturbing, especially since you never provoked her with anything but politeness and distance. Mark's betrayal adds another layer of pain. For someone who once supported you to flip so harshly, especially knowing your trauma, is heartbreaking. But your husband, his loyalty, his fierce defense of you, is the kind of love that grounds people when the world is crumbling. That part of the story was deeply moving. And your doubts about whether you could have done more? Those are the thoughts of someone empathetic. But no, this isn't on you. You were navigating pain, boundaries, and passive hostility. Sarah had choices too, and she made cruel ones. You've endured unimaginable pain with resilience and grace, and while it's natural to second-guess yourself, none of this was your fault. You were navigating trauma, grief, and cruelty from someone who chose to hurt you repeatedly despite your kindness. The best thing you can do now is protect your peace by maintaining distance from toxic people, lean on those who genuinely care, like your husband, and consider therapy to help you process everything at your own pace. If you're pregnant, let yourself feel whatever comes: joy, fear, hope, and remember that healing isn't linear. You don't owe anyone explanations, only yourself the chance to move forward in safety and love.
Let's move to our next story from r/relationship advice. I am a 27-year-old female. My boyfriend is a 31-year-old male and is avoiding me after my pap smear results. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost a year, and I am frustrated with his reaction to my pap smear results. So, a few days ago, my pap smear came back abnormal with low-grade dysplasia, LSIL, and signs of HPV. Up until now, my pap smears came back perfectly fine each year, so I was a bit shocked when I first received the report. Also, no HPV until now, might have been dormant, but had no knowledge of an active or previous infection until now. I have decided to share the news with my boyfriend, and I really need his support since I'm really scared of gyno issues. Even the PAP smear procedure is scary enough to me. I have explained to him that this is the first time it showed up for me, had no knowledge of being infected previously, and shared some HPV-related facts to him, such as the favorable prognosis because we are young. I explained to him and suggested the next steps for us, such as Gardasil vaccination and so on. He started freaking out and saying that he feels bad with himself, that he feels dirty, and that he's done with having sex. I felt like this is an appropriate reaction since he had limited knowledge about this virus, and I decided to comfort him, explaining to him that the infection is widespread, it's got nothing to do with being clean. He went non-verbal after this and remained absent for the rest of the day, while occasionally discussing daily stuff and what he wants to buy for himself. We've had no discussion about this until now, and I'm starting to get really frustrated with the way he is handling this. I've explained to him that there is no point in dwelling on whether I got it from him or not. He is not my first sexual partner. And there is no purpose in pointing fingers since it's so common and the prognosis is good. So I don't think that the issue here would be that he felt like I'm putting the blame on him. It's making me doubt his ability to have a serious relationship through good or bad, but I might just be angry at him because it will be an expensive and draining journey, especially for a person that has health anxiety. I'm not sure if I should ask him that we talk about it, or I should just leave it like it is. I think he's avoiding the topic on purpose. How can I handle this since he's clearly uncomfortable?
Hey, OP, your feelings are completely valid. Dealing with an unexpected medical result like LSIL and HPV is already emotionally and physically draining, and having your partner emotionally withdraw during such a vulnerable time adds an entirely different layer of stress. It's important to acknowledge that his reaction likely stems from fear and misinformation, but it's also true that a committed relationship should offer support through health scares, not silence and avoidance. You've done your part by approaching the situation with maturity, openness, and empathy, and now it's fair to expect emotional reciprocity. Give him a little space to process, but don't let this fester. Initiate a calm, honest conversation where you express how his silence is affecting you and ask if he's willing to better educate himself and be a supportive partner moving forward. If he continues to shut down or avoids responsibility in the relationship, that's a red flag worth reflecting on, because health challenges will come and go, but emotional partnership is what truly defines long-term compatibility.
Next, we transition to another subreddit discussion from r/relationship advice. I am a 43-year-old female, and my sister, a 38-year-old female, is upset about my 18-year-old stepdaughter's inheritance. My stepdaughter, Sophie, has been in my life since she was 12. She is autistic and really struggles to express her emotions, affection, and tone. She often comes off robotic or cold unless she actively tries otherwise. Despite her issues and not being blood, she got really close with my mother. Despite the shorter time, Mum really saw Sophie as a granddaughter as real as the others. And while Sophie doesn't show it physically, she really loved her. Mum passed away 2 months ago and had decided to leave Sophie all her jewellery and books. However, because of her condition, Sophie didn't show any real emotion or hurt. With my mother supposedly favouring her over my nieces and nephew, my family got really offended at her lack of visible care. To put in polite terms, my sister thinks the jewellery should go to my nieces, since Sophie clearly doesn't care. While they can accept splitting the money, the mementos should not go to someone so heartless. Obviously, not crying doesn't mean she doesn't care, but they aren't seeing it that way. I thought they would calm down if I gave them time to process their grief and everything, so I've mostly just left it aside from making it clear Sophie loved her. But yesterday, my siblings let me know she isn't allowed to come to Easter with the rest of the family. Specifically her, my daughter and I are still welcome apparently. I'm pretty furious about it all, but I don't want to just burn it all down and cut them off. My sister has been there for me in the past and normally isn't like this. I don't know how to deal with this. I get if they don't understand her quirks, but they need to at least respect her and understand she isn't what they think. How can I fix their misunderstanding and hurt?
Hey, OP. You're in a painful and complicated spot, and your instinct to protect Sophie while preserving family ties shows a lot of grace. It's heartbreaking when people confuse neurodivergence with indifference, especially during something as emotionally charged as grief. Sophie's way of processing loss may not look like everyone else's, but that doesn't make it any less real or valid. The best way forward may be to gently but firmly educate your family. Remind them that love isn't always loud, and explain, maybe even through examples of literature on autism, how emotional expression can vary. You can validate their hurt while still defending Sophie's place in the family. It might help to have a one-on-one talk with your sister, since she's usually supportive, and explain how deeply hurtful and exclusionary this reaction is. If they truly respected your mom, they should honor her choice to give those heirlooms to Sophie, especially since that choice came from love. This is a moment for empathy over judgment, and hopefully, with time and understanding, your family can grow from this instead of tearing apart.
Our last story is from r/relationship advice. I am a 27-year-old female. I was sick and couldn't care for myself, and my partner, who is a 29-year-old male, chose not to come home. How do I move forward in the relationship after this? I have been sick with fever, no strength, no appetite, and completely exhausted. I have barely been able to do anything or leave the bed because of how drained I've felt. I was home alone, clearly unwell, and not even able to make food for myself. My partner had the day off. He found out in the morning that he failed an exam. I understand that it was upsetting for him, I really do. He can retake this exam in the future, but instead of coming home or asking how I was doing, he chose to stay away. He didn't check in, he just disappeared to be alone and process how he felt. Meanwhile, I was home alone, shivering in bed, unable to cook or function, and completely unsupported. I expressed my needs multiple times again and again, just to make it clear as I didn't write it at first. I ended up calling my mum because I felt so alone. I told her that I didn't think it was okay that he just left me like that when I was sick and needed help. Her immediate response was, "Well, you have to understand that he was sad, you're being empathetic." When I said that I also felt bad and that I don't think it's acceptable to leave your partner completely alone in that situation, she started implying that I was the one being unreasonable. It felt like she was basically saying that my needs were secondary to his feelings, that if he was sad, he had every right to disappear, and if I had a problem with that, it was my fault for not understanding him. It's like in her eyes, he gets full permission to set boundaries or withdraw, but the moment I speak up and say, I don't think this is okay, I'm the one being difficult or selfish. There's no room for me to have feelings, no space where my vulnerability is taken seriously. I felt not only abandoned by him, but dismissed by her. Doesn't my mother think I deserve to get food when sick? I wasn't asking for anything extreme. I didn't expect him to fix my problems or make a dramatic gesture. I just needed someone to care, bring me a meal, sit next to me when I wanted to, ask if I was okay. He would still have plenty of time for himself to withdraw, but within the context of the home. I believe that's one of the most basic things you take responsibility for when you're in a relationship with another person. You care for them when they're sick. You don't walk away from someone when they're vulnerable and unable to take care of themselves. If someone can't do that, I honestly don't know how I could ever feel safe building a life with them. We have been together for 12 years, but it's not like I knew what was normal in a relationship or not. My father would act in a similar way, so...
Well, OP. First of all, your feelings are 100% valid. Being sick and vulnerable, especially after clearly expressing your needs, and then being met with absence and dismissal is deeply hurtful. Your partner didn't just fail to show up physically, he failed to show up emotionally at a time when you needed basic care and comfort. And the fact that even your mother downplayed your experience adds another painful layer, especially when you've grown up seeing this kind of behavior normalized by your father. You're not asking for too much. You're asking for the bare minimum in a loving relationship: presence, care, and empathy. The truth is, emotional safety is built in small moments like these, and right now, your partner's actions have shaken that foundation. You deserve to be cared for, just like he would want to be if roles were reversed. Moving forward, this isn't just about this one incident. It's about whether your relationship allows space for both your needs and your hurt, and whether your partner is willing to take accountability and grow from this. Have an honest, calm conversation when you're feeling better. If he dismisses your pain or guilt trips you again, that's a major red flag. After 12 years, your emotional labor shouldn't be this one-sided. You deserve a partner who shows up for you, not disappears when things get uncomfortable. These stories remind us how deeply our relationships, both romantic and familial, can affect us. Whether it's something seemingly small, like an unsanitary habit, or something as painful as grief over a lost pregnancy, respect and compassion are essential in all our connections. What would you do if you were in these situations? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more personal stories and relationship advice. Take care, and remember, you're not alone in navigating life's challenges.